other proposals that have been made. My colleague Musa Lansa drew attention to an amendment that is being proposed here on the LGBTQ issue. Let me just read excerpts of it. It says, without prejudice to Article 2, Clause 4, 5, 12, the party shall ensure at all times to protect the natural order of procreation, where practitioners of lesbianism, gays, bisexuals, transgenders, and queers shall not be allowed in the management of the new Patriotic Party. 29, to develop and maintain close fraternal relations with all political parties in West Africa and the world at large, which share the liberal democratic ideals of the party, with a view of the establishment of regional, continental, and global associations of like-minded democratic parties to promote and defend the ideals of democracy and rule of law. So the rationale behind this, they say, the introduction of this new clause is to insulate the party from any future discussions and conclusions that are likely to open the party to pressure mounting from public discourses to accept the practices of LGBTQI+. Are you surprised to find this in the proposals?
Well, it goes back to exactly what I'm saying to you, that we don't want to do the, if you like,
radical thing.
The radical thing. No, this is a very populist, this is a very rational thing that the political party would do, because if you look at this issue of gay and lesbianism and the discourse that has surrounded it, look at the three major religions that we have in Ghana. Christianity,
Muslims,
Islam, and African tradition, they're all against it,
yes.
right? They all oppose it, and they are up in arms. The Christian community, the Muslim community, you have just a few people from academia and the intelligentsia and then the civil society organization and some lawyers coming up and say, listen, let's treat these people equally. But what is the political parties doing? They are looking at how do we align ourselves with the aspirations of what the people want, so that at the end of the day, we don't rock the boat. This is what I'm saying
because
to you.
at the moment, most Ghanaians
would support that.
Yes.
But internationally, it creates a difficulty. And the NPP should be very careful, because you are in government. You are in government, and although, and this is one of the things we have not succeeded in doing, that's why I am a little bit concerned about the approach, because all along, we have still not been able to separate party from government.
Yes.
Right? Although it is a party that actually gives us the government, but because we've not been able to separate it, so anything that actually affects the government indirectly has a rippling effect on the party. And so if you have a government in power, and already, you see, the president has been very, if you like, strategic in terms of the commentary about this issue. He's not said anything.
Yes.
And you have the president's political party.
He said something. He said it will never be under his watch.
No, in the wake of this debate, in the wake of this debate, he hasn't
debate and what is going on in Parliament.
He stated that in Asante Mampo, in a Presbyterian church.
No, that was before this bill was sent to Parliament.
I didn't pick that up.
Because I recall that there was an earlier debate, and there he said it would never happen under. He said it at a church ceremony, and then, but with this debate and this bill in Parliament,
this build-up
he's
came
been
up.
very guarded in his remarks.
And I think, for me, I think it's a wise thing to do. As a president, you have to allow the debate to go on, see what happens, so that you don't unfairly balance the way things are going. But what I'm saying is that if the president is taking this posture, and the president is the president, and of course there is a lot of international pressure on Ghana, which in one way or the other that has got its own, concerns for our sovereignty, you don't do something that would put that government in a difficult situation. So there again, that's the dilemma. Do you come out and say, well, we will do what would annoy the Ghanaian population, or you would come out and do something that aligns to them? Whichever way you look at it, there would be issues. But with dilemmas like that, what you do is you shouldn't stand being accused of being reckless. In other words, you don't think about the consequences of whatever action you take, because any of the actions that they take would have consequences. But they should be prepared to justify their action, so that they don't stand accused of being reckless in the circumstances.
What about you? Are you surprised to find it in the proposals?
No, it's just somebody thinking, let us work to take over that space. For instance, about 6 or so members of NDC, with only 1 member of NPP, supported that bill in Parliament. So it came out looking as if NDC is anti-gay and NPP is pro-gay. Okay. So somebody thinks, let us smuggle this into our constitution to say that we don't want it. For me, I look at the whole picture of this anti-gay thing that we have in Parliament. Is that the most important thing in Ghana?
Well, you mentioned that there has been the accusation that the party...
For me, even the whole debate, let me state emphatically, I don't support it. I will never indulge in it. I pray every day that none of my children or my family members will get involved in this. But my question is that the most important thing
to be talking about
in our national life, where we find ourselves today, is the proper human sexuality thing, the single or one of the most important things we have to deal with in this country?
Some say yes, it's one of the important things.
Because who defines what is important?
And I also find a whole lot of my major challenge about it is also to do with the hypocrisy. That undercurrent of hypocrisy relating to this. Because I ask myself, there are gays and lesbians in Ghana. We don't want it. We have a criminal code which actually criminalizes it. We've lived with it for over 100 years. Because that criminal code was handed down to us by the British.
Yeah.
They themselves have gone back to reversing all the things they said about homosexuality. And they are going on. That is their problem. Rightly, the major religions in this country, if we take Christianity and Islam, and to an extent even African traditional religion, all of them do not recognize homosexuality.
Yes.
And so, our ethical values, our moral values have guided it on us. You see, it is not on everything that you should legislate. For me, it's a useless venture bringing about unnecessary acrimony that we brought upon ourselves. What for? I see it as a populist agenda of no value. Because
for you, do you think that
after that bill, those engaged in homosexuality will stop? That's the question. If they will not stop, why then do we bother ourselves going about it?
So essentially, you're saying that this being introduced...
It is useless. It's unnecessary. For me, what I think we should be thinking about, we are in a crisis now. The whole world is in a crisis. Europe is now going back to lockdowns. Even between European countries, they are stopping travels. Christmas would have been a time a lot of people would have gone on holiday. Already, France has stopped flights and rail trips from UK because of this Omicron variant. And we sit here in Ghana. We put together 5,000 people. And this is a proposal somebody wants them to go and consider.
Well, they need to show that as a party they are not in favor.
But that is very political. Now, it is of no use to us. The same as I think what is happening in Parliament is also another.
But now, you know the tragedy for the NPP. They are in a no-win situation in this matter. Now, if the proposal is put forward and it's rejected,
I'm coming. Think it's a political thing.
I'm coming.
And the earlier we stop making it political, and for me,
he's making reference to the proposal that is
now,
before.
Whether that proposal is accepted, if it's accepted, it's a problem.
Get a backlash.
It is rejected, it's a problem. The idea of even trying to bring it as a proposal itself was not strategic.
Absolutely.
That's the point I'm making. It was not strategic.
You see, somebody made it, so they had to consider it. That's as simple as that. But for me, what is the relevance of this?
Well,
you call yourself, if you read the point you are reading, you said you are a liberal party. and you are taking this decision and you put it in the same context of calling your party a liberal party.
But
then you don't
that is
understand,
contradictory.
You don't understand what liberal systems, how they operate. If you say you are a liberal party, you don't talk about this. I want to emphasize that I am not in support of LGBT issues.
However, you don't think that is the most important issue?
It is not necessary.
Absolutely.
It is not.
Now, another proposal they are making is to have every card-bearing member of the party vote